Hello, everyone. It is Mark Noble with Grove for Libraries, talking to you about Hero Slider development and digital signage development that we did for 2601 as part of DIS 1416. Um, so this is an example of the banner kind of being displayed. Let's go ahead and show you how those are created. So the first thing we need to do is upload the images that we want to display. So here, let's add a new one. So we're going to add a new image. This is going to be my Outer Chronicles. Um, and the idea with the hero sliders and digital signage is we're going to allow you to display various images on either your website if you're using Web Builder or if you want to embed them within an iframe, or you can include those in digital signage. So if you've got a TV that you're displaying content on or an iPad, you can embed those. Um, so we're going to go into your regular uploading images. We're going to make this instead of a web builder image, it's going to be a hero slider image. I'm going to leave this owned by all libraries. We're going to pick an image I created earlier for our Powder Chronicles. And we're going to give it some alt text and a page. I'm just going to, in this case, use a search result that I did. So just a search result for skiing, but this could go to an event that you're working on. It could go to a page in your website. It could go to kind of any additional information that you want. You can also set a start date and end date. So for especially events, if you have events that are coming and going and you want to keep your uh, digital signage in your playlist current, you can choose to start and stop those on specific dates. Um, there's a calculated aspect ratio that we'll get into in a second. So I'm just going to say save changes and continue editing. It's going to upload my image. And we can see down here that at the bottom, there is now an aspect ratio, which is 4:3. That's appropriate for display on the iPad that I'm going to be generating content for. This can be anything you want. It is important to note that the aspect ratio needs to be the same for each playlist, and that's to make sure that images all appear consistently and don't kind of get squished or shrunk or expanded in ways that don't look good. So now that we've created our image, we're going to go to local catalog enrichment and our hero slider playlist. So after you upload your images, you can create your playlist. So here we're going to add a new one. And we'll give it this a name. So this is going to be our Aspen special collections. And we can add images. So we're going to have our Alpine archives. What we're seeing here too, after the name, is the aspect ratio. So what I said before, the aspect ratio is important. You do need to make sure that those all stay the same. So we've got the Alpine archives, we've got our Powder Chronicles, we've got our Trailhead library, which are all 4:3. With the duration, we can choose how long we want these to display. So by default, they're all set to display for 5 seconds. If you had an image that had a lot of text on it, you may want that to display longer. If you just want your overall slideshow to display a little more slowly, you could set that to 10 or 15 or 30 seconds so that it rotates a little more slowly. Now that we've created that, we see that let me just show you what happens if we do create one so if we do add another one, so let's add our pause and play. We will get a warning here that says, hey, we have different aspect ratios, and we're only displaying those in locations with matching aspect ratios. So when we go and create our hero slider location, we're going to pick a specific aspect ratio. You could then create two different locations, one that was displaying all 4:3 and one that was displaying all 5:12 by 2:15. Um, if you wanted to use the same playlist, we'd suggest using two different playlists, one for each though. So let's delete that. Oop, you want to delete the one that is 5:12 by 2:15. So let's delete that and we'll save those changes. So the next thing we have is the hero sliders. And these are where you want to display each of them. So here we're going to say we're going to have, so we've got our digital signage, we've got our website banner. Let's create another one. And this is going to be our Aspen special collections web. So you can call this whatever you want, whatever makes sense for you for managing it. You can share it with different libraries. So if I wanted to, I could share this just with the Aspen library. To be easy, I'm just going to share it with everything. Is it displayed as website or digital signage? We're going to see there's just a few little differences between the two. So here we're going to say this is a 4:3 standard aspect ratio. We're going to rotate 5 seconds by default. And we're going to use our Aspen Special Collections playlist. So we're going to save those changes. Actually, let's go back into that. So here, this is designed for display within a website. If we view this, we will get information about how to view it. So we get the aspect ratio, the display style, how to integrate it. So in this case, it says, hey, you can embed this with an iframe. If you are doing it within a web portal cell, which we'll show you in just a second, we're going to set the source type to hero slider and select that name. Then we get a preview of it down below. And we can see there's controls to swipe left and right or to advance, as well as the little dots that allow you to pick and choose which one you're on. So just a way to preview it if you want. If we go into Web Builder and our custom pages, so here I had just created this sample home page. And we can see we've got our hero slider. This is the other hero slider that I was showing earlier. If we want to, we can, well, let's just go through and we'll create a new web page. So we're going to go back to the list of custom pages. We're going to add a new one. And this is going to be our Aspen special collections. Give it a URL, Aspen special collections. We don't need to log in or anything. We'll give it an audience of everyone. I'm not going to set a category right now. And we're going to make this visible for all libraries. We're going to add a row. And we're going to edit the cell. So let's just say we'll add a little contents. So we'll just do a little blurb of text. And then we can add another row and we'll edit that. We're going to change from text and images to hero slider. And then we just pick which one we want. So this is our Aspen special collections on the web. And we get that slider below. We can view this now. And obviously there's a lot of design we'd want to do here to make this look better, but we get our hero slider there. This is where we might want to make that slider a little smaller, just to be able to squish down, make a little more content visible. We'll make the page a little bigger so that we can see all of it. So typically a hero slider, you're going to make a little bit smaller. Let's look at the options for digital signage as well. So we're going to go back into admin. We're going to go find our hero sliders. And we're going to add another one for, we're going to call this our special collections iPad end cap. So this is an end cap that we have at the end of our special collections department. We're going to make this a digital signage. We're going to make it 4:3, and we're going to pick our playlist. So you'll notice that the auto rotate is disabled, and that's because we are assuming that your display is not touch friendly, and therefore that it has to auto rotate in order to see them. So we will save these changes, and now we can view it and preview it. Let's go ahead and go into the view, which is going to be the same kind of display that we had earlier. So it's a digital signage. We're set up to auto rotate. We're going to get our instructions for digital signage. The library that sponsored this is using Zogo. So this gives us the URL to use there, and I'll show that in just a second. And then we get our preview again. You'll notice now some of the differences are we don't get the little buttons at the bottom to advance. We don't get swiper controls. If we do click on them, we do go to the location where it is if it was touch enabled. So I'm going to go over to here to my Zogo manager, and we're going to add a new URL. This is going to be our Aspen special collections. And we're going to save that. And then we can choose where to put that. So we can have, so in our playlist, we can choose to have multiple signage playlists. I'm going to change this to just be our special collections, and we're going to remove the events. We'll update that. And we can choose how long they display. So we're going to display that for 30 seconds. And then this is showing on, we've got a player that is the our iPad. And let's refresh that. See if we can get that to show. Zogo's being a little slow. So here's our iPad, which is showing our demo playlist. And that updates on the iPad automatically as soon as it refreshes. Um, with Zogo, you can put on overlays, that kind of thing. You can choose what portion of the screen you want things to appear on. So it doesn't have to display um, on the entire screen. You can display it just a smaller bit, which is why we allow you to control your aspect ratio there as well. Because then you can say, like, I'm just displaying this in a tiny corner of the screen and it's going to rotate through. Um, all right, so that's getting it to display in Zogo. So it's super easy. You just paste that URL in and it shows that way. Um, Yeah, so that's the hero sliders. Wonderful functionality. We're excited to see how people use it. So when you get it set up, let us know, and we'd love to get a link to your catalog where you're showing it or a link to your digital signage. Um, yeah, so thanks. And here we go. This is a horrible way to demo this. Let's see if this works. It's not going to. It's really hard to show an iPad. It is rotating through all of the things. It looks exactly like this, um, just on an iPad. So thanks, and we will talk to you again soon. And thanks to Wasatch County for sponsoring this development. Thanks. Bye.